Hello everybody, it's Marc here from the Guitar Marketplace, and I'm back with what's beginning to be my catchphrase because we have a truly special instrument with us here today. This is, by all means, a Gibson Les Paul Custom Shop, 1959 reissue, but this is a Murphy Lab. So if you don't know what a Murphy Lab is, Tom Murphy was a guitar luthier at Gibson in the early 90s, I want to say about 93, 94. He did some historic Les Paul reissue of some sort, or a couple of them. Basically, they became revered and known as like the go-to reissues really for quality. I think he left towards the end of the 90s to start his own guitar company, in which he was like aging guitars and kind of doing the whole relic thing before the relic scene was big. Gibson started kind of following his lead and copying him. Obviously, Fender do that now. A lot of companies do that. We had a Fender 1961 reissuing that was heavily relicked. I personally didn't like it. My argument towards it was that you don't need to do that to a guitar. It kind of felt like it was aged for the sake of it. But basically, Tom Murphy is back. And then what they do, instead of the collector's choices, where they would basically go and scan these sort of old actual 59 guitars and kind of try and replicate them as good as they possibly could do. Now what they do is they give you options. So you can get a light aged, you can get a ultra light, you can get a heavy, and you can get an ultra heavy. So this is supposed to replicate basically being a case queen over the course of 50 years or so. So there is checking all on the body. I'm not so sure whether you can see that. There we are, you can definitely see it there a little bit. So there is checking from what would be like temperature change, etc, etc. You've got the sort of like Voss level of vintage original spec level of aging on the pickups really, they're not too heavy. The checking's all throughout the body. You get it quite a lot on the neck. And there's not too much, you still got the checking on the headstock as well. There really isn't too much more, there's no real noticeable damage. You got like rusting on like whether it's nickel or steel, whatever this is here. You got like rusting on there, rusting on the screws, rusting on the truss rod screws. So there's little things that make you feel like you're playing a 1959 Les Paul, to be honest. It's a beautiful guitar. It looks stunning. So it's mahogany neck, mahogany body. It's a buck matched maple top. And we have an Indian rosewood fretboard as well. Everything else is kind of the same sort of spec you'd get on just an R9 or an R8, really. The neck doesn't feel too big. I'm trying to think whether it feels, I think it feels slimmer than some of the R9s I've played. Maybe that's just placebo. I'm not entirely sure. But the one thing that you do notice straight away when picking this guitar up is how the guitar feels in your hand, because I want to say it's about £9. I don't think it's too heavy. But what the checking does do is it gives you a texture to work off on your hand, so you're not getting the usual playing experience that you would do with a box fresh Les Paul, whether it's like the gold top behind me, or whether it's an R8 or R9. It's a completely different feeling instrument. On the 61 Fender, it got sanded all the way down to the wood, and I didn't like that. I thought it felt quite, I always think it feels quite dry, the plain wood, but with this checking, what it does do is, I don't know, there's just something, I can't quite pinpoint it. It puts you in a slightly different area in terms of what guitar you're playing. And for me, when Gibson do get guitars right, they get them very right. And it could probably be argued that I'm a bit of a Gibson fanboy, but I do love the company. I love the guitars they make, pretty much all the guitars they make. And I think when they do something like this, they do it better than any company as well. But I might be a little biased, I'm not sure. But picking up this guitar and playing this guitar feels more like when we had the 1966 original Fender Strat in and compared it to the 61 felt a bit fake and contrived in the way it was aged. The 66 that was original did feel natural. So it just depends kind of what you're after in a guitar, really. Obviously, you can probably pick up an R9 for around maybe about 4 these days, 3,500, 4,000 maybe. So do you feel like you're getting an extra? Do you feel like you're getting extra for your money? Like, I think Tom Murphy's very highly respected. I think the work he does is sublime. I think it's art in itself. To look at this guitar, I think if someone was to come to your house who maybe likes music, doesn't know too much about guitars, would pick this up and go, you know, what is this that you own? What is it? Is it old? Because it looks old. And I think you are taken aback by the beauty of it. So does it have that little extra over an R9? Do we have an R9 here? Oh, we do. So as a comparison, I mean, we've got two here. This one's definitely heavier. But the neck feels, obviously it feels like a brand new guitar. I'm picking it. I think if I had to choose, if Ben was going, you get one for your birthday, Mark, which one do you want? Which Ben would never do. I think I'm picking the Murphy, to be quite honest. I might do a little sound comparison. I'm going to move the camera now. We're going to get some tones. And I might just do a quick little A and B as well, just to see if they do sound any different as well. I'll see you in a second, folks. Okay, folks, so now we're back. I've got a Vibra King sort of setup on the Kemper, with just a touch more gain, just to give it some sort of bite. I will do a quick little A and B between the Murphy Lab and the other R9 that we do have in. But for now, I'm just going to play this guitar, give you a bit of samples of what kind of, I suppose, sort of like vintagey sounds we're getting. I'm not using a lot of gain too much. Just enough, just kind of pushing the amp a little bit. I'm going to get the other R9 that we do have, and I'm going to compare it using the exact same amp and just kind of see whether there is any tonal differences. Now we are back with a touch more gain. We're going through a 70s Marshall. Obviously, we've got 59 Les Paul reissue. So there's a lot of great tones you can definitely get from this combination. I'm thinking Free, I'm thinking Led Zeppelin. So let's just see what sort of tones we get. Okay folks, so the verdict, I love it. It's just not like playing any other guitar really, it's just a different bracket. I think you play it slightly differently. It gives you everything that a good Les Paul will give you. Felt like it sustained for days, really nice to play. I'm comfortable with Les Pauls anyway. I think taking away how it feels like on the neck and whatnot, the guitar plays like just a great Les Paul does. Played the exact same as the R9 we compared it to as well. They're just incredible guitars. But then when you get the added texture of the neck, which for me is the reason I would buy a Murphy Lab. I know it's nice to see the aging on the front of the guitar and the headstock, but it doesn't matter. You start playing the guitar and you don't see that as the player anyway. You really will not care about how the front of it looks or the headstock of it looks when you're playing it, because you don't see it, you're playing the instrument. Because I think there'll be people that may comment on this if people do end up finding this video going, oh, you don't need a relic guitar, you know, you relic it over 40 years yourself. And I get that. I was firmly in that bracket when I played the 61 Fender Reissue. But this is different. I'd potentially get an ultralight in the future. Financially, I probably won't ever be able to afford it, but if I win the lottery and I've got to go and buy myself a Les Paul, and I don't win the Euro Million, so I can't buy an actual 59, I'll just win like a couple of mil. I'd probably get something like this. 100% I'd probably get something like that. I will quickly show you the case, because the case is also exquisite. You don't get anything too special in it really, compared to the R9s. It's the same sort of style case. It's just pretty, isn't it? It's pretty. You open this, you do have a Murphy Lab certificate of authenticity. In there is just the usual goodies, your warranty, blah, blah, blah. But you get a nice little Gibson Custom Murphy Lab booklet that has been checked like the guitar, which I've only just realised. The Gibson Custom Shop instrument bearing the serial number above features ultralight aging by the skilled artisans of the Murphy Lab. It was handmade by expert luthiers and craftspeople of the Gibson Custom Shop in Nashville, Tennessee. The Murphy Lab ultralight age finish treatment, paired with lightly aged hardware, simulates decades of light playwear, giving it the unique character, vibe and feel of an original example from the Gibson Golden era. It's a nice touch. I think it re-cements how special the instrument is that you have purchased. And it's just, again, it's Gibson with the nice little touches, making a purchase that is by all means very expensive. You could probably buy yourself a Rolex for that, or a car. But who needs a Rolex and a car when you have a beautiful Gibson Les Paul? And on that little tagline, my name's been Mark. Thank you ever so much for watching, folks. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully we've done this beautiful guitar justice. Do let us know in the comments if there's anything you want to see us do, and we will try our best to make it happen. Thank you. We've been the Guitar Marketplace. Take care, and we will see you soon for another video. Bye-bye.